to introduce you today to this amazing girl who's originally from Canada but now lives in Tulum on the beach. And her name is Racquel Wallen. And you will love to hear about her anti-diet coaching approach and how she'll show you by shrinking yourself isn't necessarily a way to good health. We'd like to begin, though, from a word from one of our sponsors, which is Amare Global, the mental wellness company. So before we kick in with Racquel, listen to a little bit about Amare Wellness, and they're the global mental wellness company. Thanks so much, and we'll be right back. Amare Global is the mental wellness company. In 2018, Amare won the Nutra Award for the world's first award-winning gut-brain axis nutrition system for their flagship product, the Fundamentals Pack, clinically proven to increase good bacteria in the gut and incredible benefits. Amare means love, and there is love in every bottle. Mental health matters, and Amare is the mental wellness company. Prepare your body's gut microbiome for optimized mental wellness with a reboot and get yourself back to feeling joyful and motivated with mood. Round out your daily nutrition with GBX food systems. Crush your daily to-do list each day with Edge. Support your digestion and immune system with digestive, probiotics, omega, and Vita GBX supplements. Fuel your mental edge with our Mental Fitness Pack. Feel like your best self with the Happy Hormone Pack. Unlock your brain's potential with happy neurons with the Happy Mind Pack. And combine these products for an ultimate day with the Happy Juice Pack. For weight loss and energy, order the Transformational Pack. Our Kids Pack is the first comprehensive mental wellness pack for kids and teens. For a complete mind and body nutrition system, get your kids these today. Begin your wellness journey with Amare's Starter Pack and save. Start with the Entrepreneur Pack if you're serious about making an impact on your mental, physical, and financial wellness. Launch your Amare business with all our top products, packs, offers, and save. Help others achieve overall wellness too and gain financial wellness. Become a mental wellness partner today. Shop now and save. Sign up today by going to our website listed on this page.
The Connection Show. Inspiring hope, health, healing, connecting the dots of your story and transforming your life. Sponsored by Braveheart Workshops, live with Jill Reynolds.
The Connection Show, inspiring hope, health, and healing. Sponsored by Braveheart Workshops, live with Jill Reynolds. And joining me today is Racquel Wallen. Welcome to the show, Racquel.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Jill.
Well, I am really excited to get to know you a little bit more. I read your bio, but I always like to save that towards the end so that the audience can really get to know you. So if you're ready, I'd love for them to hear a little bit about little Racquel growing up, what life was like for you, and then take us through junior high, high school, into the journey you're on today.
Oh, wow. Okay. So for those who don't know, right now I do anti-diet coaching. So I help people with their relationship with food, their body, exercise, through intuitive eating and intuitive movement. So I guess I'll be speaking about this from like that sort of lens and my journey with that, because that has been such a profound thing that's happened to me. So I will speak on that. So me growing up, so I am half Jamaican, half Ukrainian. So I had a mix of cultures in my household. The Jamaican influence was definitely a lot more though, although it was kind of a mix, but one sort of dominated over the other in my life growing up. And that's what I really identified with. And I was also like kind of a chubbier kid, and people used to like pick at that about me, bully me about it, about my size. I remember this one girl who I thought was my friend in elementary school. She made a comment about like me eating fast food one day and like behind my back, and I just like, that was hurtful. Obviously that's coming from your friend, your supposed best friend, you know, and they're talking behind your back about you. Yeah, and then there was the influence of like my mom and the cultural sort of thing and what's normalized in society, which is talking about bodies. So like there'd be the little hints like, oh, like you should put her on a diet, or, you know, I remember at dance class, the teacher told me to like suck in my belly, and it's just like little comments like that throughout my younger years, and just not liking myself and going in the change room even during gym class and like sucking in my belly, and because we all have to change in front of each other, and that's like terrifying for somebody who is just in that, you know, negative headspace about their body, which I believe you totally can be in a bigger body and exist, you know, happy and confidently. But just at that time in my life, I was not. I was a little kid and super influenced by people too. Like I was a total people pleaser. I would always go with the opinions of my friends, even though sometimes it may not have resonated with me. I still kind of went along with it. And honestly, that's kind of how I ended up in my first diet situation. It was grade 8, and my friend, it was grade 7, actually going into grade 8. And my friend was like super obsessed with like weight and health and, you know, doing all of these diety things and trying to look a certain way because she didn't like her body, and like she wanted me to go on this whole journey with her, and like I fell for it. And so that was like kind of my first diet. I like stopped eating, not completely though. I would eat a little bit, but like literally like the minimum that you could have on your plate. That's what I would have. And I remember like always just being hungry, and I was trying to like quiet the voice in my head, you know, that I was hungry and I needed food. I would try to like convince myself that I wasn't hungry in those moments. And yeah, that was for a few months. And then I kind of stopped that for a little bit. And then going into high school, still didn't really know who I was, and was still like very much peeping and trying to blend in with my friends and, you know, not be different from them. I just felt like the way that I thought was totally different than how they thought. But yeah, that people pleaser came out in me a lot growing up. But then high school ended, and where I really got into, you know, more negative thoughts about my body and the way my relationship with food and exercise and the gym and all of that was in university, because they had a gym that you could go to for free, like it was included in your tuition. So I was in my last year, the second last and last year of the university, and I decided to like go to the gym. And then I got kind of obsessed with you know, what I eat in a day is on YouTube, and I started following like more fitness influencers and stuff like that. So I very much fell into the like everything has to be super clean eating, and, you know, if you miss a day at the gym, then you're a failure, all your progress is gone, all of that. Like my goal was to be like those bikini competitors with the 6-pack abs. That was my goal. But my body had other plans. My body was like, what are you doing, Racquel? We're not meant to exist in that type of body. which I later accepted. But like during that time, I was just so frustrated with myself. I would literally stare in the mirror probably 20, 30 times a day, like not even exaggerating. I would like body check every single chance that I got, and would just constantly stare at the mirror myself. And even when I made, a little bit of progress with what I was trying to do, I still wasn't happy. And I was still like, I was on to the next thing that I was going to nitpick at and tear apart, and talk negatively to. And it got to a point where I was so obsessed with like what I was eating and my exercise that I couldn't be there for my friend one day. Like she got into like a really crazy like car accident situation, and she called me and she's like, oh, I just really need like a friend there. And I was like, yeah, I'll see you after I go to the gym. And that was kind of like the turning point for me on my journey, because my friend obviously didn't like that, and she voiced her opinion to me, and she was like, Racquel, that was not cool of you to do. Like, you're clearly not making me a priority in your life. So then I was like, oh crap, what am I doing here? I have to find something that's more sustainable. And then that's when I fell into some of the CrossUp podcast. I can't remember how I did, but it was a like fat acceptance, health at every size type of podcast, with these two awesome hosts. And I kind of like went on a rabbit hole from there, and watching more podcasts and articles and YouTube videos and like everything under the sun about intuitive eating and health at every size and intuitive movement.
Yeah. So at that point of your life, did you at any time go into treatment then for eating disorders? Did you actually go in? No. So you found recovery through this podcasting and learning about health at every size and intuitive eating is how you started to discover a way out. So along that journey, Racquel, if we can go back a bit, if we could go all the way back a little bit to that little girl. So at any point in your childhood, I go deep here, so you can say I don't want to go there, because you don't have to go there. So at any point in your childhood, did you have ancestrally heritage, generational wounds of physical, emotional, sexual abuse, or disordered eating or addiction in your family, drugs, alcohol, anything of that was part of your family growing up or what you went through?
No, not that I know of, but I do know like trauma like affects your DNA. So maybe it could be possible previous generations, but like my immediate family, like my mom, my dad, no, that's not something that.
And you didn't go,
it was purely
you didn't go through, and you didn't go through that yourself. Yours was predominantly the bullying. So, because generally something in a family brings about the body dysmorphia and the body checking. So yours basically started with a friend bullying you and making fun of your size. It wasn't something else that came about within the family itself on trauma that led you to feeling that you weren't good enough.
Yeah, I feel like it was a mix of a lot of things. Like it was like my immediate friends circle and also the media. I loved reading those like tween and like teen magazines too growing up, and like the fat shaming in the early 2000s was like at an all-time high. And like if somebody gained 5 pounds, it was like, she's overweight now. And it's like this whole big thing. So I feel like that whole culture too, like the 90s, 2000s, like that was a super, like everybody has to be thin. And like even movies and TVs, it still happens today. Like it's all thinner people, and usually people in larger bodies get cast as like the comedic relief, or they get cast as like the side character, or they're the fat person that ends up with another fat person in the movie. You know, it's still not a mainstream thing. So I feel like that heavy influence definitely played a part. My parents' words definitely played a part, but I would say it was smaller in comparison to like my friends and media and social media too was another big thing. Like when I was in that super diet culture mindset in university and my earlier years.
Now,
I
did you recall being at home? Did you recall your mom being um, contributing to that in her own life? Like, did you see your mom always worrying about her body size and her body image and having to have that perfect figure? Was your mother into that?
yeah, I mean she never
Or your dad actually too. I'm gonna say that dad because you know that one really got to me. I did not know that my father had body dysmorphia until years later, and because my dad was a
wow.
bodybuilder. But even dads or moms, did you ever see them constantly being consumed with the way they looked?
Yeah, I mean, my mom is definitely the one who focuses on that stuff more. Like, even still till today, she, like, if a weight loss ad comes up on TV, like, she'll comment on her stomach, or if there's like an event she has to go to, then she gets worried about what she's going to wear and how she's looking. And she does like stress about the vain physical appearance. Although she hasn't done any of the crazy extreme diet culture stuff like, fasting and being on a super low calorie diet. Like she talks about that stuff and she talks about how she wants to change how she looks, but she never actually went through with it and tried the things that she thought would get her there, if that makes sense. It was more just like comments from her and on her perception of herself.
It'd be fascinating because most young women or men don't sit down with mom and dad and say, "Hey, I've been connecting the dots in my story and just wondering, can we go deeper into yours?" Because it usually there's a lot of generation to disordered eating and where it originates from. So along the way, I just so I can qualify for you, so you know a little bit about me because you don't.
Yeah.
I've been in treatment 5 times for eating disorder, and so mine started at 5 years old. So I've done quite a bit of my own timeline journey with food and mindful eating and intuitive eating and stuff. So for those listening out there today, there are several disordered eating that many people are not aware of, and so one, of course, that is very well known is anorexia, which is the self-starvation, eliminating lots and lots of food from your food plan. People are very familiar with bulimia, which is the purging, which usually takes place because your emotions get so filled up with inside of you that you purge them out through food. Many times, people do not understand that eating disorders originate from trauma in the mind or something going on within the mind. It's really never about the food. We think that disordered eating is about the food, but it's not about the food. It's what's eating us alive. So those two are the predominant ones. Some of the other ones to be aware of, if you are not, is the ARFID, which is restrictive avoidance disorder. We're finding this more and more in small children today. Little kids will start off, and parents will constantly say, "Oh, they're just a picky eater." Well, they're just a picky eater. Please, moms and dads, if this is you, from all the love in my heart, please stop saying to your children, "You're a picky eater." That enables disordered eating. You are the parent and you can choose the food plan for your children, not them telling you what they're going to choose. But if it really becomes severe where they will not eat different foods, now you can definitely reach out to professional dietitians who specialize in ARFID and get them an assessment, because it really is a deadly disease that we don't realize. When children will sometimes say, "I just want butter noodles. I won't eat protein. I won't eat this." And they start eliminating a lot of different foods because they have a fear of it or the textures. They'll say, "Oh, I don't like the texture." So there's a lot more to the disorder than a lot of us know. So that's ARFID. Of course, then, many of us have heard of binge eating, emotional eating, or night eating. A lot of times that's attributed alongside of ARFID, restrictive avoidance disorder. And many of you out there today may be experiencing some of this and aren't even aware of it. So I'm going to ask the audience, do you wake up in the morning and skip breakfast? Then do you get up and go through your day in busyness and maybe skip lunch and then eat one meal a day? Do you do any of this because you say it's from busyness, and or do you do any of this so that you can lose weight? Because if you do, then you are already moving towards restrictive avoidance disorder. Restricting and avoiding meals is not healthy for our body because it spikes our cortisol, our glucose, and our insulin levels and puts you out of balance. So the next one that I'd like to address is what Racquel addressed earlier, and that's orthorexia. Orthorexia is what people think is the fad diet of clean eating. Everything must be clean. Well, when it gets to the point that you miss family functions, you diss your girlfriends or your friends, or you don't go out to restaurants anymore, when it gets to that severity, you have now moved into a very severe eating disorder, orthorexia, which is where your mind thinks everything must be clean. You can't put an ounce of sugar in your body. Nothing can have MSG, nothing can have gluten, and it becomes more and more restrictive to this clean eating fad. So that's orthorexia. The new one that kind of came out a few years ago that really kind of surprised me, Racquel, is bigorexia. And bigorexia is seen a lot of times in the gyms when you'll go to the gym and you'll see people bodybuilding with weights that are like 2 times heavier than their body mass can handle. And they'll be on the table, like they're pumping iron,
Yes.
and you can relate. And they're looking in the mirror, and in the mirror they feel like they don't have any muscles at all, and their muscles are popping out of them. So bigorexia is a very severe eating disorder that brings about body dysmorphia. So body dysmorphia, and then of course the excessive exercising. When you're exercising to lose weight, the purpose of exercise is to keep your body in balance and movement for optimal health. The body wasn't set up to utilize exercise to lose weight. Now, can you do some moderate exercise to lose weight? Absolutely. But if your brain goes into this thing that I've got to go and burn every single ounce of food that I put into my body today so that I have 0 calorie intake so I can lose weight, then your mind is going into a body dysmorphia and an excessive exercise eating disorder. So I want to let you take off on that from how all of that applies to you in your life.
Yeah, it was definitely more orthorexic tendencies with the everything has to be, clean. Like I only had the chicken and the rice and the veg, and that was my meals all day, every day. And I would go to the gym. I had to go 5 days a week. And if I went any less, it was not cool. And I would get actual anxiety from missing, a day at the gym, even though maybe my body needed rest, or like the story I just shared about my friend. So that is definitely the category that I resonate the most with. And I feel like with the people who are in the mindset of, oh, I need to go to the gym all the time because I need to burn off calories, and they're using it as a form of punishment. Newsflash, the calorie counter, burner, Fitbit, monitor, whatever you're using, there is a huge margin of error. And it doesn't take into account, your muscle mass or anything outside of this, pre-programmed workout session, like not every time that you go on the treadmill for 30 minutes, you're going to burn the same calories, and your Fitbit won't reflect that, because it doesn't take into account so many things like your metabolic rate, your bone mass, all of that stuff, your muscle mass, things like that, which all play a factor into how your body burns calories. Not to mention 60 to 70% of how our body uses energy is just going into its own functions, like keeping us breathing, keeping our digestion going, and like literally just keeping us alive. So you going and trying to burn everything off, it's not the most accurate. If you're looking at like the calorie counter on the treadmill, like that's definitely not going to be accurate. It's just based off of your heart rate and their estimated calorie burn, for that amount of time. Yeah. And your weight also affects it too. So that's not accurate. And even the labels on nutrition, the nutrition labels on food aren't even accurate. They have a margin of error up to 20%. So the numbers that you could be recording aren't even true, and you might not be fueling your body enough, because like I said, a lot of the energy goes into burning, like just keeping our bodies alive. So if you're not fueling yourself with enough food throughout the day, that's where you'll see like the fatigue and the brain fog and the moodiness and the tiredness, and just the low energy overall. You get sick more often, things like that. And I see so many people on 1,200 calorie diets, and I'm like, please get off them. That is the need of a toddler. You're an adult eating the same amount of food that a toddler needs. Like, your body needs more fuel than that.
Well, and thank you. And so some of the things that I learned is that what makes your body, and it drives me crazy, all of these fasting diets too. Like, I got to do my fasting. And I'm like, well, do you know that your body needs nutrition within 1 hour of rising? When your body rises in the morning, it needs nutrition in the morning. And so one of the things that we learned in treatment was to make sure that you ate your first meal of the day within 1 hour of rising, and have it be consistent of protein and produce, and hopefully a carb if you're doing carbs. Some people, whatever, but for sure protein and produce must be to get your brain going. And then they taught us not to ever go past 4.5 hours in the day without any nutrition, because that's when your body will spike your insulin, glucose, and cortisol level, and it will spike. But to keep it balanced, if you eat every 4.5 hours, then your cortisol, insulin, glucose. So what does that look like? So Racquel, for me, I learned that you start off like I've gotten into an amazing, for me, I have gotten into Amare Global, which is called the Mental Wellness Company. And I love my nutritional protein drink in the morning with my beet powder. I love my beet powder. I do 4 different things, one for collagen, one for immune system. And I love my bee pollen. I got to have my bee pollen. It gives me energy. It's organic, right from a bee farm. And I have my grape stuff that gives me energy. So I take that with my trace minerals and my probiotics, and I'm ready to go for the whole day, because I don't drink caffeine at all. And then I start off with at least 1 or 2 good glasses of water to nutritionally get my body filled with the hydrogen. It just needs water. And so I do this, and then 4.5 hours later is usually lunch, unless you get up. I don't get up at 5 in the morning. So if you get up at 5 in the morning and you eat at 6, and you don't eat lunch till noon, that's too long. You've got to have a snack in between. And, make snacks up, through the week in little baggies of protein and produce. So it could be like peanut butter and celery, or it could be apples and nuts or something. Protein and produce, protein and produce. And that keeps your body balanced throughout the day and nutritionally fed. And so many of us forget about nutritionally fed meals. And I never ever use the word diet, Racquel. I use the word a balanced food plan, a balanced meal plan, and planning is really, really good. And most people, don't even know that when you self-starve and you do not eat throughout the day, that the leptin in your brain shuts off. And when you're leptin in your brain, it's a hormone that gives you cues of hunger and fullness.
Yes.
So when the leptin is gone and shuts off because you haven't been eating, then you don't know when you're hungry or full. And it really can be very, very serious. So take off on that, Racquel.
Well, I feel like everybody sort of what they eat in a day looks different. Like for some people, it could just be like 3 meals in the day and like that's it. Like mine is sort of like the 3 meals and then I have a dessert. Always have to have my dessert. That is always part of the plan. But for some people, like my friend, she likes to graze and snack throughout the day. So she'll have like several smaller meals throughout the day, just because that's how she just likes to eat that way. So it's really about finding a way that works for you, but definitely want to have those things on your plate to make it a balanced plate so you're not hungry 30 minutes later. Like I always cringe at those like gym fitness influencers who like show you a smoothie recipe and it's just like half a banana and some ice and protein powder and like that's your meal. It's like no. That we need some more balance in here. So you want to make sure you have your protein source, your chicken, beef, fish, or if you're vegetarian, tofu, tempeh, beans, that sort of thing. And you want to make sure you have a carb source, whether that be fruits or veg or rice or pasta or bread. Don't be scared of bread, guys. Okay, we need carbs in our body. It's how our body likes to use energy, and it's actually one of the first sources of energy that our body likes to use. When you go do that workout, it's going to use up the carbs first.
And I want to pause on that because people out there really think this, and it drives me crazy, is people think to go gluten-free is healthier. That is not a true statement. The only time you go gluten-free is if a medical doctor, a gastrointestinal medicine doctor, not a chiropractor or an osteopath or a nutritionist says, oh, go gluten-free. Because, why am I saying this to you? Because the reason you go gluten-free is if you have celiac disease. And the only way you know if you have celiac disease is to go to a GI doctor, give them your symptoms of what's going, let them do an endoscope so they can go into the small bowel to see if your villi is gone, and they do a small little biopsy. And you do this to make sure you do not have the onset of colon cancer or lymphoma. You don't do this because you think that gluten is bad. That is a lie. It is not true. And so if people are telling you this, you are being misled, because I was part of the mouse studies at the University of Chicago Celiac Research, where they took my blood every 3 months to see and use my blood for the research. I have celiac disease. I was close to colon cancer. So I am speaking from knowledge. And for those of you who do not know, the gluten-free breads and pastas, if you take a carb and divide it by the fiber, and if the amount exceeds 7, that usually means you're eating a bowl of sugar. And so we're not here to say what foods are bad or good, because I don't like that. I like the gray area. But 99.9% of the gluten-free carbs are eating a bowl of sugar. And just people do not understand that. Udis, when you take it, it comes out to a 30. And that's what all the restaurants serve is Udis. And so you think that it's nutritional, but when I went to University of Chicago, Racquel, my GI doctor said, Jill, if you want to continue eating carbs like breads and pastas that are gluten free. They said, make sure you balance what you're doing in portions, because you definitely will gain a gob of weight, because it converts to sugar and it gives you no energy whatsoever. So I didn't know any of this, Racquel. I had no clue whatsoever. And so I do now find that Katz, K-A-T-Z, out of New York, they have some phenomenal gluten-free breads. There's a couple of them that are at about an 8, and they're very healthy choices for eating carbs. So, but only do this if you have celiac disease. Otherwise, it's okay to eat carbs, is what I'm saying.
Yeah, yes, exactly. If you don't have like a medical condition or an allergy or anything like that, the effect on your body isn't as crazy as these people are making it seem, because I feel like a lot of us today just like go on social media and like consume content, and we don't dig deeper into the claims that a lot of these people, these so-called health gurus, are making. And then we just kind of take it at face value and like kind of run with it. But what we don't realize is behind the scenes, they did this like one study on 50 people, and some of them got a result for 2 months. And that's it. That's not a big population to sample. And you can't apply that to the rest of the world because everybody's so different. And that's why I don't understand why, well, I do understand why diets and stuff, it's a whole marketing thing. But what people don't realize is the research behind it. And a lot of these weight loss studies are very short term, like they're only 2-3 months long. So yeah, these people in the study might have seen a result for a little bit of a time, but what about in 5 years from now? What about in 10 years from now? Like I guarantee you they would have gained the weight back and then some. Like that happened with The Biggest Loser, right? That TV show, when they check up on them later, you know, they like gain the weight back. It's because they were in such an extreme environment. And you can't diet your whole life. You cannot be in this extreme calorie deficit your whole life. You know, there's going to be a lot of health issues that come to the surface for sure.
Well, I think we could go on for about 3 more days on this.
Oh yeah.
You and I have. You know, the one thing I'd like to end on, though, that is a really phenomenal exercise that you can do this at home. Anyone can do this at home, Racquel, is, and I hope that everyone has a full-length mirror. And if you don't, go get yourself one, because if you don't have one, that tells me you have some severe body image issues that you don't want to look at your full body. So get a full mirror and put a chair, you know, a chair or stand up, whichever you can do. I sit because I've had a really bad car accident, but sit or stand in front of it and look into that mirror every day for 30 days. Takes 10 minutes max. And just look into that mirror and say, oh, I love my eyes because they help me to see the world around me. I love my nose because it helps me to smell flowers and the fragrances of food. I love my mouth because it helps me to taste textures and to speak and communicate with those around me. I love my arms because they help me to hug my grandkids and those I love. And I love my abdomen because it holds in my vital organs that keep me alive. And oh, how I love my heart because it helps me to love others. I love my legs because it helps me to move and get to the destination I want. So embrace your body, talk to it, and share with it why you love it.
And gratitude is definitely a powerful tool. And I encourage, you know, my clients to do this all the time, is look at yourself. If you can't get to love, at least get to gratitude. Get to that place of being thankful for what your body does for you, because I feel like a lot of us take it for granted, right? And we don't remember those little things, like you said, like our scent, you know, like how many times you get sick and you can't breathe that you wish you could breathe through your nose, you know, or even like that exercise session that you just went through, like your body brought you through that, even though it was hard or challenging. So I think coming at things from a place of gratitude is definitely powerful. And I believe our bodies are divinely gifted. So just being thankful for this gift, because you didn't have to be here right now, in all honesty, but God made you into this body. So we shouldn't disrespect it.
Well, I love talking to you. We should do some more of these. We'll do like our 10 minutes on healthy living. I don't want to say healthy food, because you know what? All food,
I know, the stigma.
All food is good when eaten in balance,
Yes.
And so I'm going to show Racquel's bio. This is Racquel. Her website is Racquel Wallen at .com. And so I'll have this up on the screen and with the interview, so you can connect with her more fully. So Racquel, stay on when we hang up here. But everyone, I am so grateful that you joined us today on the Connection Show, where we inspire hope, health, and healing in the world, and have amazing guests on our show like Racquel. So thank you, Racquel, for joining us today.
Thank you so much, Jill. Let's do it again. Yes.
Thanks, everyone. Well, it was so fun being on the show and interviewing Racquel. Wasn't she amazing? I just want to go and do a retreat with her. And Tulum sounds amazing. So wouldn't you guys love to go to Tulum and just get to know her? But we do have an event coming up that we can't get away together, and that's to Aruba. Aruba is the happy island. It is so amazing, pristine white sand. So we still have space available. I'd love for you to learn more. So listen now, and hopefully you'll join us. Join us for the Hope, Health, and Healing Aruba Connections Getaway for men and women, February 5th through the 11th, 2023. Are you overworked? Stressed out? Feeling exhausted? Is it time to spoil yourself? Breathe in life and relax at private villas in Aruba for 6 nights and 7 days. Renew your mind and body. Discover greater self-awareness. Join in connection, wellness, stillness, movement, enhance inner peace. Experience amazing beaches. Enjoy snorkeling, area attractions, shopping till you drop. Dine at fabulous beachfront restaurants. Imagine releasing anxiety, reconnect with yourself, restore your soul, bring your friends. Enjoy fresh and savory cooked meals, lasting memories. Join us now. Register today. Book your flight and getaway to Aruba, February 5th through the 11th, 2023. Register by going to braveheartworkshops.com. Pack now and see you on the island of Aruba. Thanks for joining us today on The Connection Show, where we bring you stories that will transform your life. The Connection Show would appreciate your support. Please go to either our Patreon page or our PayPal Me Now link today. We love our podcast show guests and appreciate our listeners and YouTube subscribers. Please go to our YouTube channel called The Connection Show and Braveheart Workshops and subscribe now. Remember to click the gray bell in the All tab so you don't miss any upcoming episodes.